Well, I would definitely take a bet on, I think it's nearly 60% of sales managers running rubbish sales meetings. And the truth is, the reason that that's the case is because they focus on the numbers and the activity. They don't focus on the emotions and beliefs and feelings of their salespeople.
Hello, I've got John Dougan with me again. Welcome back, John.
Thank you, John.
John, last time we talked about coaching and we focused primarily on how to coach for skills and that whole area of consistent practice on one skill at a time. And I think that was a great message. Towards the end, you started talking about behavioural change. And to me, that's absolutely critical because in working with salespeople out there, and I run a lot of training programs, at the end of the training program, they get excited about it, but it's not going to change behaviour because that's got to happen with consistent activity in the field, consistent coaching. How do you go about driving behavioural change, and what do you recommend for others?
Yeah, John, and you raised a very valid point. I think it's just over 80% of what is learnt in a classroom is forgotten within 30 days. So in terms of what we need to coach, we actually need to coach for the embedding of behaviours rather than just skills, because the truth is the skill piece only plays 10%.
If we've grown up doing a thing a certain way and it's built within our very being, our belief makeup and so on, it's tough to change, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. When you speak about beliefs, John, and this is one of the most interesting areas when it comes to sales psychology for me, because as human beings, we're incredibly emotional towards both the idea of selling and the idea of making our buyers feel a certain way and helping them with problems. We're talking about basic human instincts of trying to fix, accomplish or avoid a problem. So we've got to be very cognizant of that. And as sales coaches, we need to also be cognizant that people who are doing that from an action point of view are actually driven by their emotions, their feelings, and their limiting beliefs.
Limiting beliefs particularly. So as a coach, as a sales manager coach,
yeah,
what sort of things do you recommend people need to do as a coach to help drive that change in beliefs that are going to drive the behavioural change?
And it is in understanding your sellers or your salespeople. John, number one, we've got to understand what is it that motivates them. We've got to understand what goals they are trying to achieve.
And when you say they and them, you're really talking about each individual, aren't you? Because everybody's different.
Absolutely. And lo and behold, the coach that tars everybody with the same brush, it just simply won't work. Everybody's going to have their own motivation, their own goals they want to achieve, and their own limiting beliefs that will stop them getting there. And when I talk about limiting beliefs, it's an area I'm very passionate about. I'm specifically talking about beliefs that don't drive action or that limit the action we can take. And traditionally as human beings, what we've done is we associate a past experience with the action that we take. The truth is that the experience we've had creates a belief that then creates the action or the inaction that we take.
I can speak from personal experience. When I was a young salesperson, I had a sales manager, and I knew that I had a lot of beliefs that were restricting me. Right? Well, most young people do. And it's really restricting a lot of the behaviour I needed to have to be a successful salesperson. I had this vivid memory of this sales manager who was probably only 5 or 10 years older than I was, but he looked like a much more mature person to me.
Yeah.
And he just demonstrated absolute belief in me and really was convinced, you are going to be successful. Let me coach you through that. Let me show you how, or not just show me how, but talk me through it, help me build the beliefs that I needed to be successful. And I was really, really pleased that happened. Otherwise, I might have been out of sales and moved on. And yet, I've had a very successful career.
Well, great sales leaders, great sales coaches ignite the fire within people. They really do, John, and that is what drives action. But I can't count on my fingers and toes the amount of sales leaders that I meet that just say to me, John, the problem is my BDMs no longer pick up the phone. And the truth is, when you think about the experiences they've gone through, they should be susceptible to actually doing that. But the problem is we allow our past experiences to drive our beliefs. And the truth is, when somebody talks about the motivation and the results that we can affect by actually picking up the phone, I think it has a profound impact on how we get results.
And in my experience, sales managers are often too quick to give up on salespeople that aren't performing. Once you change one or two beliefs and they get their self-confidence going, and often their skills are reasonably good, they just need to fine-tune them, you'll find that unsuccessful people can be turned into very successful people. And sometimes the investment in doing that is a lot less than letting them go and trying to find another person and the whole process with the risks associated with that.
Oh, our sales confidence drives the sales actions that we take. I'm a big believer in that. And the problem is, if as a sales coach or a sales manager you detract from that confidence, you are killing your salespeople.
And I've seen a lot of sales managers do that. They berate their people or whatever it is, bullying and so on. Just doesn't work. It's got to be helping them change their beliefs so that they believe more in their success capability and they grow into the role and become very successful.
Well, I would definitely take a bet on, I think it's nearly 60% of sales managers running rubbish sales meetings. And the truth is, the reason that that's the case is because they focus on the numbers and the activity. They don't focus on the emotions and beliefs and feelings of their salespeople.
That's a great way to finish, John. Thank you very much for the message. And for all sales managers out there, heed, it's all about the beliefs, patterns of your people and making sure those beliefs are developed in order to drive the right behaviour to be successful.
Absolutely, John.
Let's coach to make sure that happens.
Thank you.